think that it's high time that we had a quick look at the history of a popular complication seen in some modern watches before diving into the review of our next watch. There was once a French king called King Louis XVIII. One can only imagine his supreme regal allure, judging by his more colloquial moniker of King Louis the Desired. Apparently this magnet of affection had his own desire with the fillies, not what you're thinking though, but the four-legged kind. He was so rather infatuated with horse racing that he wanted a precise way of knowing how long a race lasted and more likely how long a particular horse took in a race. So he commissioned a young royal court watchmaker to design a contraption to record the passage of time. Nikolaus Riusek then created the device for the king in 1821. Nearly 100 years later, Gaston Breitling produced the first chronograph with a central seconds hand, which was a standard for elapsed timing up until Adolphe Nicol in 1844 created a resetting feature which allowed for successive measurements. Chronographs subsequently became very popular, not only with the army for telemetry and ranging, but with aviators because it allowed them to make rapid calculations and conduct precise timing of turns and distance. The former of which is especially useful if your head is stuck in the clouds. On Apollo 13, the ill-fated moon mission, it said that Commander Swigert used his chronograph to accurately time the rocket burn to align the spacecraft for re-entry. Rocket burns aside, chronographs are a really handy tool, even if it's just to time a parking meter or to know how long your egg has been boiling for. The Bremont Arrow is the chronograph in the trilogy of the Armed Forces collection with the Royal Air Force specifically in mind. It's a single or mono-pusher chronograph housed in a 42mm two-piece case with the stopwatch pusher at 2 o'clock. This pusher will start, stop and reset the stopwatch on the BE51AE movement, which is chronometer rated to the ISO 3159 standard. This automatic chronograph movement is made up of 27 joules vibrating at 28,800 beats per hour and a power reserve of up to 48 hours. It's around 13 millimeters high with a lug-to-lug length of about 50 millimeters. The dial has Arabic numerals with C1 superluminova filled hands and in a custom green mint color. The running seconds and minute recorder hands share the same mint C1 superluminova. The chronograph hand is highly visible, painted white in the stock contrast to the black dial. The business end is tipped with a red arrow, perhaps a subtle nod to the Royal Air Force Red Arrow's aerobatic team, but that's just speculation on my part, but boy, wouldn't it be a story if it were. What is also pleasing with this watch is the date at 6. It's not an afterthought in this case, quite the opposite. It's large enough to see at a glance, as dates really should be. The case is water resistant to 100 meters and is emblazoned with the 3 heraldic badges of the armed forces on the back. I love the color of this watch, from the Air Force blue sailcloth strap to the mint green hands and its indexes. It doesn't feel overly large or heavy on my fairly average size wrist. This watch is truly unique and a perfect fit in the trilogy, as it's the first time a partnership of its kind has been struck between the MOD endorsing the efforts of a company whose product is intended primarily for civilian consumption. This marks a significant place not only in Bremont's history, but in that of the MOD. That having been said though, I'm sure many of these pieces will end up on the wrists of active service personnel. Why not, after all? The Arrow is priced at 5,900 Canadian dollars and is available immediately for now.